Indian and Iranian armies flexing their muscles. Finland extends Russian border closing. Sweden is all cleared to join NATO. Russian ministry stirring trouble for the British. Lukashenko is immune. He's in God's mode now. BMW cancels Russia digitally and China is in trouble. The biggest news of the week? Russia is meddling with elections again, but this time all over the world. Welcome to another World's News as seen from Russia update. Howdy, howdy, friends. My name is Konstantin and welcome to Inside Russia, where usual Russia is explained by the unusual Russian. That's me. Every Wednesday, I give you Russian take on important news, and let's jump straight to the news number one. And the first news of this past week comes from Russian new friends and military allies from Iran and India. Iran officially made a very powerful statement today. Let me quote the head of Iranian Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps of Mr. Hossein Salami. This is what he had to say. Iran will respond to any threat from the United States. Unquote. You know what? I think that Iranian warnings or threats, it's hard for me to understand Iranians, whether they warn or threaten. I don't know. But anyway, I think they are to be taken seriously, as they have army with mighty powerful fighters. Their special forces are nothing short of legendary. And the thing is, Iranian army is somewhat a mystery. Mystery, but nothing short of legendary again. I think it's currently number 3 in the world. Right after the second most powerful army in the world, Russian. But, sometimes, very rarely, there's a leak of what goes on inside of the most powerful army in the world, number 3. And today I'm lucky to get my hands on such a leak. Let me show you the best of Iranian army, the Tigers. The best of the best Army Special Forces performing acts of incredible skills, training, brute force at a national military parade. Your eyes on the screen, please. The Tigers. The Tigers are trying to show their skills, how they can use... they don't need weapons in Iran. They use legs and hands as their weapons, and they're deadly. And they're showing it right now. I mean, check these guys out. The cream of the crop. And this is the instructor trying. Yes, using his legs, now he's using his hands, look at this thing. Oh. And these are mighty generals of the Iranian army. And I think they have tears in their eyes because, because. The Tigers. I'm telling you, these guys are good. Oh my goodness. Look. Oh, years of training, special stuff, The cream of the crop of Iranian military leadership right there. They're satisfied. They're clearly satisfied. They're very, it's time to go now. And that is a close military ally of Russia. The army number 3 in the world. Really. Now... I'd take any threat coming from those Tigers, the fighters, I'd take them very seriously. Because if anything, they will come and do this. Yo, Anyway, and the most powerful army in the world, number 4, is also an ally of China. Well, at least that's what the Russian officials say. In it's India. I think otherwise about both Iran and India's armies, but hey, that's not the point now. The Indian army has a completely different approach, very different from the contrast from the Iranian army. The Iranians are very secretive, very deadly, as we just saw. Oh, they're skilled, but they keep to themselves. They don't let others know that they're deadly. It's top confidential. The Indians, on the contrary, are completely opposite. They are open and transparent. They want to see and appreciate their might, the entire world. They want to see the entire world, how mighty and powerful their army is. And, they show it on the parades, and they let to take pictures and see, And let's take a look at a recent tour de force by the Indian army. Here we're seeing it must be a reconnaissance, military reconnaissance. And this is also reconnaissance, this flying high, and it's probably called the Titanic reconnaissance. Oh, secret agent taking pictures. And now we have Iranian Air Force. Oh, I'm sorry, Indian Air Force. This is the Indian Army. Nice. They represent the planes, obviously. And this is most likely ship carrier. Oh, this is the bomber right in the middle and two jet fighters right next to it. And this I don't even know what this is. It's really hard. This is a tank. But this is human radar. This is a breakthrough. Check this guys out. It's scary, And this is the heck, what is this? This is a secret weapon of the Indians. I don't know what this is. This is the secret weapon. Here we have two mighty powerful armies with different approaches. One threatens and scares to death. Another wants to blind you with showing its acrobatics, elegance, and magnificence. They want to shock you with artistically so you would be in awe and you would run away in admiration. I like that. Whew. The disturbing news actually came from South Korea. A gas leak was accidentally mistaken for fog, and this is what happened. People thought it's fog, and it turned out to be gas, natural gas. That's pretty scary. I've never seen anything like that, According to the provincial fire department, 2 of 5 people who were present there suffered burns, while the other 3 suffered minor injuries. As the rest of the explosion and subsequent fire, 14 buildings and several cars were damaged. Russia has very sophisticated natural gas supply system. Gas pipes are all over their places, but I've never seen anything like this before. And it'd be interesting to know what caused the leak and why there was so much gas leaked unnoticed. And another thing, the third question, this huge explosion and only couple people injured and no casualties and, no buildings exploded. In Russia, a minor gas accident, building is gone, things like that. So that's really... South Koreans are ahead of everyone, I think in safety too. The next news comes from Finland that stated that the country does not intend to open checkpoints on the border with Russia. Finland will not open border with Russia yet. The decision was announced by Interior Minister Marie Rantanen at a government briefing on Thursday, January 11th. And the restrictions were extended for another month until February 11th. According to the government of the neighboring country, Finland, there are still foreigners in the area of border waiting for the opening of the Finnish border to cross into Finland. The decision can be reversed or changed if it is no longer necessary to deal with serious threat to national security or public order. That's how the Minister of Internal Affairs of Finland explained the situation. The Finnish Interior Ministry, head said that the threat of hybrid influence remains from Russia. At the same time, Rantanen stressed that the situation has been having a negative impact on Russians living in Finland and some Finnish as well. And the Russian propaganda all of a sudden started caring for the Finnish citizens. The propaganda is irate. They can't do that. They say the Finnish government is harming the Finnish citizens. Oh, the evil West. You see what NATO did to Finland in just a few short months? They turned into complete monsters who started oppressing their own citizens. They are harming the Finns who want to travel to Russia and back freely. And of course, there are millions of Finns like that. Like everyone in Finland wants to travel to Russia and go back. And the evil Finnish government is not allowing them to do that. Human rights of Finns are suppressed. Well, I think they're very angry for one simple reason. They can't roll into Finland and liberate Finns from their democratically elected government anymore. And that is absolutely driving them mad. Well, Finland, congratulations on joining NATO. You made the right choice, and you're safe now. And the next news is also about NATO. The Turkish parliament has approved Sweden's accession to NATO. Right here. The ratification document was sent to President Erdogan for signature. Hungary remains the only opponent of the alliance expansion to the north. Its authorities explain the delay in ratification by criticism of the policy of the government led by Prime Minister Orban from Sweden. Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban actually called on the country's parliament to ratify Sweden membership in NATO at the earliest opportunity, and he clarified that he had held telephone talks with NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg on the eve of Turkish parliament approving Sweden's accession to NATO. The talk was made. In the latest news, just a few days ago, Sweden is all cleared and good to go. Congratulations. The Swedes, you made the right choice and you are also safe now. Same as the Finns. Well, the next news is not such good news for the British. Hey, you're in trouble. Stockpile of your fish if you want to continue having your fantastic fish and chips. Yes, the best fish and chips I've ever had was in a tiny takeout cafe, kind of hole in the wall, right next to Marylebone train station in London. Boy, that was good. The best in the world. Well, Russians intend to put an end to that. Russia will ban British from fishing in the Barents Sea. The Ministry of Agriculture and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Russian Federation proposed to the government to denounce the 1956 agreement between the USSR and Great Britain. This is the first denounced international food treaty in the world, in the history of people. My advice to Russian ministry: fellas, get your eggs straight first, and then only then try to mess with other countries. And the British? I think you're safe for now. Those Russian threats are sort of Iranian army parade or Indian army cavalcade that I showed a few minutes earlier. The next news is an absolute gem. And I mean it, jokes aside, no sarcasm, it's pretty serious. You see, I search hard for this kind of news. Small news like that, I call them pieces of puzzle. They, we put them together and they give you a big picture of what's really going on behind the surface. Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko, well, I don't really know if you can call him a president, as he's been the president of the country since July 20th, 1994. Let me know in the comments below how you call him. Anyway, he's very strange, dictator perhaps. Let me know in the comments. Anyway, he signed a law guaranteeing him and his family immunity from any crimes committed while he was the president. Also, he held that law allows him to use state-owned real estate after he's not the president any longer. Now, and I'm for real, this is a gem of news. It shows that Lukashenko starts worrying. He starts planning his backing out, retreat. He might know something that we don't. That there are forces out there that can end his presidency very soon. So he starts thinking, what's next? Well, buddy, bad news for you. There's not much after your presidency for you. And I think this new law that you want to make you a gold mode-like player, no, that's not gonna fly. Well, this news was only briefly, that tiny little bit mentioned in Russia and went mostly unnoticed. But it shows me that there are changes up in the air. And any change now for both Russia and Belarus is a very good change. Keep watching, friends. Keep on collecting the gems. If at this point you're asking yourself, how can I help this channel? That's very easy. Start with pressing the like button. And then leave a comment. Ask me something. Comment something. If you have nothing to say, please put a couple lines of something nice, encouraging, so I read it and it makes me feel better. To algorithm of YouTube, it does magic, wonders, It promotes videos so much more with your comments on, so please help me out. Of course, if you want to buy me a coffee or an English tea, I like that very much. You can do so by becoming Patreon at patreon.com or channel sponsor or buymeacoffee.com. I'm going to put links down below. Thank you so very much. And the next news is coming from China. The Chinese authorities may send 2 trillion yuan, local currency, from offshore accounts of state-owned enterprises to buy Chinese shares in Hong Kong. Experts warn that such support may work in the short term, but other measures should and most likely will follow. This is also a gem of a news because it shows that China is not well. I mean, it's been predicted for a long time. Many experts have been saying about that, and it's not a secret. It's a knowledge, public knowledge. But it's one thing to talk about it and wait for it, and that's another thing to actually see it starts happening. And it has started happening. Russian propaganda keeping silence. And it's a very good sign that things are pretty serious, because if they weren't, Russian propaganda would be all over the place, but something serious happens. They just, silent. Like, they don't even know of that. issue. Russians have been hearing for the past 9 years that China will save us. If we fall in trouble financially, this China, our closest friend and ally. Well, my friends, the question is, who will save China now? The next news is from Turkey. The problem with money transfers to Turkey from Russia has been partially solved, but temporarily. Payment for Turkish exporters goes through one bank. It's called Emlak Katelim Bank, as reported throughout Turkey. I'll remind you that Antony Blinken had a conversation with Turkish banks, Turkish central bank perhaps, and after that, all Turkish banks stopped dealing with Russian customers. And Russia relies heavily on Turkey as exporter of all goods and services that Russia needs, along with China. So it's a huge blow to Russian consumers and Russian economy. And Russians have been frantically looking for a solution to go around American sanctions. They found one, but it's a temporary solution. This one bank, Emlak Katelim Bank, is doing the transfers now, but I have a feeling not too long. And so far, this patch only works for exporters of textiles, clothing, and food products, the auto products, and products from the engineering sector. That's pretty much it. It's confirmed January 23rd, not too long ago, a few days ago, that Turkish banks are still, most of them, still not working with the Russian customers, except for this one. The next news comes from Bavaria, Germany, from Munich. BMW has banned Russians from connecting smartphones to cars imported through parallel import, not bought directly at BMW, and you can't buy a car directly from BMW in Russia because BMW has officially banned Russia from, buying its cars. Well, a car like this on a picture, basically it's a very high-tech car, It goes online, upgrades itself, it connects to its smartphone, it performs 10 million different digital operations. And in Russia, car owners started complaining about inability to launch CarPlay. The problem rises when the car detects its location in Russia. The problem is solved if you turn off the telemetry unit in the car. But when you turn it on, the machine loses many other options, pretty much all digital options. And modern cars right now, they're about convenience. And most of the convenience come from electronics components inside the car, electronic systems, software and things like that, there are so many to name here. But then once you make your car work in Russia, you lose all those options. But you know what? It's kind of not a big deal for Russians because, hey, it's BMW. It's BMW. Look at this. It's ugly. It's outdated. It's so yesterday. BMWs, who needs them anymore? The Moscow Mule is coming to the dealership near every Russian any day now. Hey, we were promised they will start mass producing them in 2024. The Moscow Mules, just look at it. It's so much better than BMW. BMW is so yesterday. BMW is ugly. And a Moscow Mule, it's beautiful. Well, do your worst, BMW. And Mercedes. And Porsche. And Audi. There will be no effects whatsoever. Because Russians, guess what? They are professional sufferers. They could kill, the worse it is, the better for the Russians. Now, the next news, again, jokes aside, it puts me, a Russian, to shame. Another bunch of terrorists, no good scumbags, were welcomed to and greeted in Moscow following the Taliban and the Hamas. A Houthi gangsters delegation from Yemen was received with honor in Moscow on January 5th. The special representative of the President of Russia for the Middle East and Africa, Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs Mikhail Bogdanov, no, that's not him, that's Russian guy, held talks with delegation of the Yemen Shiite movement Ansar Allah, the Houthis, led by Mohammed Abdel Salam. That's him. How do we know? Russian Foreign Ministry proudly reported, and other than that, I could not find even one single picture of that visit. There's nothing to be surprised about that. It's always been that way. Since the Soviet times, all sorts of trash have been collected in Moscow. It's just the masks are off now. There's no need to decency anymore. Taliban, Hamas, Houthi, terrorists, extremists, they don't care. Everyone's welcome in Moscow. And the next news is also pretty disturbing. And let's put jokes and sarcasm aside. Germany has uncovered a major pro-Russian disinformation campaign. Using thousands of fake accounts on X, what used to be known as Twitter, Russians have been stirring anger at Berlin's support for Ukraine. The revelation came amid growing concern about the increasingly sophisticated disinformation campaigns that they could have on different kinds of elections. Experts commissioned by the German Foreign Ministry used specialized software to monitor posts on the online platform Twitter, X, I don't know how you call it. I like Twitter so much better, I guess. It's not Twitter anymore. Well, they monitored the posts between 20th of December and 20th of January for 1 month. And this is what they found out. They reportedly stumbled across more than 50,000 fake user accounts that together pumped out more than 1 million German language tweets. German language from Russia with love. From Russia with tweets, I guess. Common theme was that accusation that Chancellor Olaf Scholz's government was neglecting the country's own population in favor of helping Ukraine in its war against Russia. That's just 1 month, folks. 30 days on one social media, not the most popular one, They're doing it in Germany. It means they're doing it in all Western country, non-stop, 24/7. Can you imagine how much harm they're doing to your country, your home, at Russian taxpayers' expense with my money? In the past, I made mistakes, a few mistakes, just like I thought that no one in the sane mind in Russia, no one is so crazy to ever start a war with Ukraine. Big mistake. Another mistake was that I thought, quite some time ago, I thought that Russia didn't meddle with 2016 US election. I thought it was impossible. I thought Russia wasn't powerful enough. And, even if they tried, they couldn't do that. But now I see that was a mistake. Now I see otherwise. Now I understand no one is immune and no one is safe. You're watching me right now. Be warned. Russian government is not just ruining its country, my country, it's trying to corrupt your home too. Be warned and act accordingly. Do you have any idea of what the volumes are for all social media around the world at this point? Do you have any idea? We're talking about billions of dollars they're allocating from the state budget, my taxpayers' money, all Russians' taxpayers' money, to Putin propaganda for this. This, folks, very sad. Be warned, and act accordingly. And that's it for the world's news update for today. I suggest now you check out another video I made documenting how I was leaving Russia forever. Thank you so very much. I'll see you soon.